Welcome back. We are here with Anthony from Antonio Carlo Gourmet Sauces. Anthony, how are you?
I'm doing well, Easton. I hope you are.
Yes, yes, it's good to be chatting. We had a nice phone call a couple months ago. You sent me some coupons, and my family was loving your sauces. So it's very exciting to have you on to chat today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to hear that they arrived and your family is enjoying our gourmet marinara.
Yes. So you and your wife started the business about 4 years ago. What sparked the idea of creating this business?
That's a great question, Easton. So, as I mentioned previously, I'm in healthcare. That's my day job. And, my second other passion is cooking. My wife and I love to cook. She's also a gourmet chef, if you will, for desserts, wedding cakes, and cupcakes and such baked goods. But whenever we would serve my family's third generation recipe to friends, neighbors, they would absolutely go bonkers. They're like, "Oh my goodness, this is like having a meal in Venice or Rome, and you should really launch this thing." And we both have our careers. And, we were raised our two sons on these gourmet sauces, my grandmother's recipe as well. So I was born in Italy, in Genoa, and that's where this all originated, again, three generations ago. So approximately 4 years ago, my wife, clearly the brains in the family, as I mentioned to our national interview with Fox Business News, Kate took the bull by the horns, did all that crazy paperwork, getting everything approved, nutritional, hired a web designer, media company, and we launched Antonio Carlo Gourmet Sauces with my Nona, my grandmother's third generation recipe. And it's unique in the sense that we've invested substantially into a proprietary cooking process that really separates it from all the others in the
Yeah.
supermarket, and especially the perceived premiums, and we all know who they are. Our
Yes.
products are high-end gourmet, imported. There are absolutely no harmful chemicals or preservatives, no sugar added, of course. Whole 30 proof, vegan, non-dairy, and gluten-free. So once we had the original recipe launched locally here in Wilmington, in the boutique stores, mom and pops, like gourmet Italian specialty stores, we followed up and launched a fresh tomato basil leaf. And they're all great with pasta, of course, but also the fresh tomato basil leaf, especially in the summer. We like to utilize that to make flatbreads or homemade pizza on the grill. Because
Yeah.
all that beautiful dark basil oil will end up soaking into your crust. You'll have an amazing smoky margarita flavor. We also launched a roasted garlic in addition to pasta, which is excellent with any proteins, chicken, veal, pork, sausage, meatballs, even grilled vegetables. And finally, our spicy arrabbiata. Love that one, especially because I love seafood, shrimp fra diavolo, mussels marinara, or beautiful fruta de mare. So we launched here in Wilmington approximately 4 years ago, and we're making it in our kitchen every morning for about a year and a half, at 3 a.m. to 8 a.m., 4 to 6 big pots on the stove, cooking for 5 or 6 hours, and that's how it happened.
And how did you know that your family's original recipe that was created in the 1800s was something that could actually be sold to millions of people?
Well, the unique flavor and taste, and we all grew up on it. As I mentioned, we raised our children on it, and we would serve it to friends and family. And their reaction is really what spurred us on and kind of lit the spark, if you will. Just being able to share that with other folks throughout the country, that kind of gave us the jump start.
Yeah. I love how you guys, because you obviously care about your product and you're very passionate about what you're creating. You put love into your food. There's like good emotions that go into it. And why create a sauce with no preservatives and no toxic chemicals?
Well, being in healthcare, of course, and you're very educated in that field as well, knowing what to put into your body and what not to put into your body. Unfortunately, lots of products in stores, it's proven, especially added sugar and preservatives and chemicals and dyes, that will shorten your life.
Yeah. Yep.
So, we're all about eating healthy. And, we will not change the recipe. As lots of brands get purchased, like there's a major brand that just got acquired by Campbell's, and we know that's going to change even further. If the day comes, Easton, that we have pressure to meet, price points, or going to larger and continue to go to into larger retailers where we would have to change the recipe or cheapen it, I will close the lights, and that will be the end of the story. I refuse to change that recipe.
And I think that's important to have standards in your business and have standards of like, hey, even though we could make a lot more money or even though we could get into bigger stores, we're going to have this standard. We're going to keep it and we're going to make sure that we have a product that is not only good and tastes good for people, but is actually healthy because, like you mentioned, there is a lot of products out there, especially sauces and ranches and that type of like the condiments. People aren't aware that there's a lot of processed sugar in it, a lot of chemicals, a lot of things like that. And to kind of go off that, you kind of touched on this earlier, but what makes your sauces stand out versus others?
That's a great question. Primarily the ingredients. San Marzano, truly actual San Marzano tomatoes, which lots of other sauces claim they're San Marzanos, but they might be just plum tomatoes or Roma tomatoes. But there is a difference when you're getting actual San Marzano tomatoes from the Amalfi Coast, as you know, the volcanic ash, the Mount Vesuvius. And also, again, we've developed a proprietary cooking process that separates it. Not only the taste, the gourmet taste, but the look, feel, texture. I mean, if you look at all the other jars, they have that similar, like smooth, just, like I don't want to be mean, like a ketchup like finish. And ours, you can see that it's chunky, it separates. It's like you made it on the stove, whether you made it, your mom made it, or your grandmother made it on Sunday. And it has that consistency of a true marinara that you make at home. That's the main difference. And the flavor comes through, and that smell comes through just like you were making it at home on Sunday mornings.
Yeah, and I think the your garlic for me is your favorite. It has this garlic type film that you can taste and it's very different. Like when I had it, I was like, okay, this tastes good because I'm a big garlic person. I'm like, this tastes good. And it just, there's something different about your garlic sauce that you make. And I don't know. And like you said, it's very chunky and it's different than a lot of the other sauces. And you also mentioned this a little bit before as well. What is your favorite dish that you can pair with your sauces?
Let me touch on that also, circle back, but I also want to make a point about our roasted garlic. It's actual roasted garlic, which is unusual. It's not garlic powder like some may use, or just straight garlic. It's roasted
Yeah.
garlic and then accompanied into the marinara during the cooking process. And it's funny you mentioned the roasted garlic. We just won the 2024 International Flavor Awards for pasta sauces.
Wow.
Our roasted garlic won that international flavor awards for our pasta sauce over many others. Um, but yeah, so they're all great with pasta, as we know. And the roasted garlic specifically, again, really pairs well with proteins like a nice chicken, veal parmigiana, meatballs, of course, sausage, grilled vegetables. Um, The arrabbiata, again, if you love seafood, you really have to try it with shrimp fra diavolo. Just throw some shrimp in a skillet or mussels, 5 minutes, pour over the arrabbiata. You can pair it with a pasta or linguine. But what's fun during the summer months, a lot of folks think it's just quote unquote spaghetti sauce, and it's just for spaghetti or pasta. And it has so many more options to utilize and pair it with during the summer months, flatbreads and homemade pizza on the grill. If your listeners have never made pizza on the grill, it is so easy. I'll walk through it in 15 seconds, and there is zero cleanup. Get your grill fired up, 450. You go and get a pizza grate at either Williams Sonoma or Walmart, just a steel grate with holes in it. Put your dough over it, lay it on the grill 3 to 4 minutes, get some burn marks underneath because it's open, through the wire, get the edges burnt, put on your marinara, your mozzarella, whatever else you'd like to put on for another 3 or 4 minutes. And literally in 5 to 7 minutes, you've got a beautiful homemade pizza on the grill with that outstanding aroma, the smoky flavor, if you will. And again, zero cleanup. I can make 2 to 3 pies in 15 minutes.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really love the homemade pizza. I think that's probably one of my favorite things to make. And I think it just goes perfect with it. And in the early days, you and your wife Kate would stay up or would wake up at 3 in the morning to make your sauces. How did you continue to stay confident that your business would succeed even during those hard times?
That's a great question, Easton. So we knew what we had. That flavor is just unlike anything else out there. But just sales immediately at these little mom and pops or Italian delis, we couldn't make it fast enough. We used to go to every Walmart in a 20-mile radius to buy ball jars to make it at home and can it. And then we're making homemade labels on our little printer at home. We did some farmers markets, and it would rain and all the ink would run off of the labels and everyone would buy it anyway. But it got to a point where we could not get enough ball jars, where Kate started ordering pallets of ball jars directly from Walmart. We go rent a U-Haul, pick them up, and so just even initially within the first 6 months at all these little shops, we couldn't keep them stocked. I'm like, hey, we really need to hire a co-packer. And that's when we hired our first co-packer. We have 3 co-packers now, which supply, the East Coast from Maryland to Florida, all of Harris Teeter, Lowe's Foods, Fresh Market, Earth Fare. We're on Amazon. Then we're throughout the entire Midwest, Meyer, Fresh Time throughout Chicago. Then also Texas, Arizona with Central Market, and soon to be HEB.
Yeah, and I think hearing that story, it's very inspirational because you guys started in the beginning. You started, in your basement, in your house, and you guys grew from there. And you also mentioned that you're in these big box stores. What was the most surprising thing about getting into these big box stores like the Fresh Market?
Uh, Another great question. And, we're entering our twilight years. We're going to retire, at least I was, a few years ago. And I got to tell you, man, this food business, it is so expensive to get on shelf with slotting fees, BOGOs, TPRs, put it on sale. It's so hard to get on the shelf, which we knew was difficult. And we hired, brokers and distributors. So we're full blown now. The real work and the real job is moving it off the shelf, because if you don't meet the guidelines or the levels of sales that these big box stores require, you're out after paying 50, 100, $200,000 for slotting fees, marketing, social media, influencers. We need to do demos. Demos could be tens, 20 tens of thousands of dollars to do demos in these stores. And it's only for a 3 hour block. So let's say if you didn't walk into the store when we were doing one of the demos, you would never have the opportunity to taste our products. So my point is, those tens of thousands of dollars for the demos, when we're introducing the product to customers, you have to do it more than once. So this business is expensive.
Yeah, and when you were telling me that on the phone call when we first talked, I was shocked. I was like 250, $250,000, 200,000. That's a lot just to get on the shelf. Um,
Yeah.
and it's very, very. I think the food business in general is very difficult, and it's one business I would not want to be in. So, Props to you 100% for being in that business.
Well, thank you. We're learning every day. It's something new. It just started, like I said, getting into this business a few years ago, and every day we're learning. And we've made some mistakes, costly mistakes that we'll learn going forward. But we're building this as a legacy for our children. Having grown up poor, coming from Italy and living in New Jersey. My son Anthony is the first Costella out of all the siblings and cousins that graduated college. So we're really proud of him, and they're doing real well. And it's amazing what one generation from being like poor to they're professionals. My son Anthony's in finance. My son Michael's also in healthcare, and they've blessed us with two grandsons now, a Chase Anthony and a Carlo. So we're looking to build this to have them never struggle like we did growing up, and hand it over as a legacy someday.
Yeah, I love that you're building for legacy. And when cooking, how important do you think emotions and vibrations are?
Elaborate on vibrations.
I guess the state of being that you're in. Like, let's say you're cooking and you're in an angry state, or you're in a happy state. Like, how important do you think the state of the chef or the cook making the food is when just creating that product?
I got to tell you, when it's very important, and when I'm cooking, it's nirvana. Like on a Sunday,
Yeah.
I'll open a nice bottle of red, and I love music from Sinatra to AC/DC. But when I'm cooking, it's either Tony Bennett or Sinatra, and it takes me away, man. I'm really in another world, but it has so much to do with the love and the passion of what you're producing. It's everything.
Yeah. And to kind of go a little personal, you take your health very seriously. If that's consistently working out, not eating processed sugars, not eating seed oils, or all the other stuff you do, why continue to push to be healthy as you get older?
Well, I want to feel good. I'd like to stick around for a while to see the fruits of our labor and enjoy my family, enjoy my grandsons. Love to play golf and tennis. We do that often with our children and daughter-in-laws, and they're visiting us in Wilmington, North Carolina, here in a few weeks. We get up to New Jersey often to visit with them. We just celebrated our grandson Chase's second birthday last week. Carla will be 1 in December, but I want to stick around. Kate and I want to enjoy our grandchildren and future grandchildren and feel good and be able to work, I don't know, into our 80s if that's possible. But that all comes with a clear mind, eating healthy, of course. And look, nothing's a guarantee, but at least we're giving it a shot, and hopefully, we'll have an opportunity to live longer, healthy, and exercising every day. It's so important. If we don't work out, my wife and I are up at 4 a.m. every morning. Coffee's on. We're just chit chatting about family, life, and what the day will bring. By 5:45, we're in at the gym, hit class or working out until 7, shower, day begins. But that is every single day. If we don't work out in the morning, I'm lost. I can't function. I just don't feel right. We have to start our day that way.
And uh, when you look at the world around us, there's a lot of good stuff going on. There's a lot of bad stuff going on. Do you think humans are naturally good or naturally bad?
I think inherently good. I want to believe that. I would say most people, if not, well, I can't say all, I would say most people are inherently good and have a good heart.
Why do you think that is?
I just think it's human nature. If you have a family, there's a love there that can't be replicated. I mean, the love for children and a spouse, relatives, and relatives could argue at times, of course. But look, if there's any threat to a relative, all those previous arguments go away, and now there's unity. I just think people in general are good. I have to believe that. I want to believe that.
I love that. I have two more questions for you.
Sure.
If you could live forever, how would your life be different?
Wow, that's quite a question. Um, I don't know how it would be different, nor would I want it to be any different. Um, getting close to 70 years of age, I've been very lucky in my life. I've been healthy. I met the love of my life. We have two beautiful children, two beautiful grandchildren. We have a lovely home. Um, I don't know if I would change anything. If I could hang out and do that for another lifetime, sign me up.
Yeah. Yes, yes. I have one more question for you.
Sure.
If you could have dinner with two people, one person from the past and one person from the present, who would it be and why?
Um, One person from the past, and being Italian, I'm going to stick to my roots. But old Blue Eyes, I'd love to sit down and hang out with Frank Sinatra. I mean, just the man, the life that he has lived, and you know, his music, of course. I would say I'd love to have share a meal with Frank Sinatra. Someone from the present, I'd love to see what makes Elon Musk tick. I'd probably never get an answer or get into his head, but that would be a very interesting conversation. Um, just to see, try to find out where his mind is, where he thinks the future is. That would be an interesting evening, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, Anthony, that's all the questions I have. How can people find you? And what is one thing you want to leave people with?
Um, Throughout the country in major retailers, supermarket chains, Harris Teeter, again from Maryland to Florida, Lowe's Foods, Fresh Market, Earth Fare, throughout the Midwest, Meyer, Fresh Time, Central Market in Texas, soon to be HEB. We're pitching Whole Foods, Wegmans, and of course, as a last resort, Amazon.
Yes. And what is one thing you want to leave people with today?
If you have an opportunity to um, to sit down with your family and share a meal and have quality family time, to have the experience of a fine Italian meal, if you will, um, without the cost, try one of our sauces. I think you'll find it special.
Yes. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on. It was a great conversation, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
I appreciate you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you for having us.